Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to Ministry Designs YouTube channel. So excited for you guys to be here to learn. In this video today, we are going to be talking about Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG compliance. Now, this is going to be more of an informational video, a little bit less tips, but hopefully we can provide some guidance for you on how to make sure that you are WCAG compliant online. And before we get started, make sure, as always, to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the little notification bell if you haven't already to make sure that you're notified with every coming post and drop on the channel. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into it. Well, okay, WCAG, Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. Now, this is a lot of more just technical understanding today to make sure that we are compliant. So for a couple of things, we're dealing with legal stuff. So I'm not going to rely on my own brain. I'm going to go ahead and pop down to my monitor here and there to make sure I'm getting you the right content. But essentially, the gist of this compliance is to make sure your website is usable and readable and inclusive for people with disabilities. Now, there are laws in place for this. There are guidelines for compliance. You want to make sure that you're compliant, because if you're not, it can affect your website's score. It can affect your ability to have a website that's visible online. So you need to make sure that you're doing your best, at least, to keep this compliance. And it also will help your SEO. Google rewards you for it. It's just good to do. So, a couple of things. Really, this is the key. There's 4 key principles really holding this whole thing together. So it has to be perceivable. Your website should be perceivable. People that maybe are blind should be able to get the content off your website using their senses, like with hearing, things like that. It needs to be able to be operable, so you've got to be able to operate it with a mouse, with voice commands or other methods. It needs to be understandable. So it needs to be, the content should be readable and digestible, and it needs to be responsive, so responsive across different platforms. So a phone, a tablet, a computer, a big desktop. You need to make sure that you have a responsive website that works across different platforms. So that's things you need to look out for. So the requirements for WCAG compliance are going to be provide captions for live videos. So if you're doing videos, it's a really good idea to make sure that things are be closed caption. Like on YouTube, you have the option to close caption. And I think it does it automatically. It transcribes your videos, but you can also do it right on the video by using any transcribing tool and putting captions on there or subtitles. Ensure that your text and your images and your content is responsive. Make sure that if you have a big text on a computer, but when you go to a phone, it's not going to be readable because you need to be able to have tools like screen readers that can actually crawl through and read the content of your website. And if they can't see all the text, then they can't read it properly. So make sure that your text is responsive to the size of your screen. Most good platforms will do this. I know our system here at Ministry Designs, our website system, it automatically creates different versions of your text to make sure it shrinks and actually adjusts to the size of the screen properly. You want to make sure you have something that does that, as well with the rest of your content on different devices. Also, you need to have the ability to use keyboard navigation keyboard navigation. That's going to be on the provider that you're using. So make sure you do a little bit of research. If you're picking a website provider, pick one that's going to have the ability to navigate that is compatible with screen readers as well. Make sure you're adding alt text to your images. So that's going to be inside of the media library portion. It depends on what system you're using, but pretty much usually you'll find it wherever you upload your images. In the settings for the image you upload, you can add things called alt tags and alt text. What this is just a description. So if someone maybe is blind and they're looking or they're viewing your website using like a tool on their computer, you should be able to hover over an image. It should be able to read the alt text and describe the image that you are seeing. The alt text should be a description of what's going on in that image. And that's also a big step for SEO as well. You want to make sure that you're doing that. So it's kind of 2 birds with 1 stone on that one. consistent elements across all web pages. Again, consistency with your spacing. Make sure things have room to breathe so that those tools can use them. Things like good contrast of colors. You don't want like light gray on top of white. For someone who's visually impaired, that's hard. Also for computer programs, it's hard to see. You want to make sure that you keep your colors consistent. You keep your contrast consistent so it's easy to see. All right, this is what's on top of this background. You want to have contrasting pieces of information in your design. And then avoiding design elements that may induce seizures. So bright flashing lights, things that are going to induce a seizure potentially, which is a really good tip anyway, because no one wants to see that on a website. They're there to learn, to find what they're looking for, not to have a disco party on your website. So try to avoid that at all costs. So that's WCAG compliance. Again, that is going to be website content accessibility guidelines compliance. So you want to make sure that you're up to date on that. A little bit more of a serious tone today than a design tip, but important nonetheless. So again, if you haven't yet, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to make sure that you get all the information that you need on new drops on this channel for videos and content. We want to keep adding value to you and your church. And as always, make sure you reach out to us at ministrydesigns.com if you have any questions. Thanks.